friends, it's Lisa, and Happy New Year! It is officially 2024. This is the first time I'm also chatting with you all in the new year, so Happy New Year! Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're excited for a new year, a fresh start. I know I'm personally very excited because, especially like in regards to my reading year, 2023 was not my best. So I'm very excited for 2024 reading wise. I'm just really hoping that this year is going to be a lot better. I'm going to read a lot of books I really love, and I'm just very excited for a fresh start. I think that's what I need mentally. But yes, welcome to the first reading vlog of 2024. I actually have done vlogs like the first week or so of the new year the past couple of years, and I wanted to do it again this year. It's just really fun to document the start of the year, my first few reads of the year. It's just really exciting. I think I'm just like always so excited by the idea of a new reading year and a fresh start, like I said. So very excited to document the first week or so of 2024 and what I end up reading. And it is already the 3rd of January, so I have started my first book of the year, which we'll talk about in a second. But I did want to quickly talk about my reading goal for the year, which I set January 1st. Very excited. Also, the Goodreads challenge color, I'm just happy it's not the orange. Honestly, like I wasn't really thrilled with the 3 choices that they gave us before the new year. Like we knew it was going to be the magenta or the emerald or the, I think they were calling it ginger. It was orange again. They've done orange too many times, so I'm happy that it's not that. But to be honest, I wasn't like super thrilled with any of the colors. I like green, so the green would have been fine. The magenta, I'm not a big purple person, but I feel like of the 3 options, it is the most different 2 colors that they've chosen from the past. So I'm happy that they chose the magenta, but someone needs to sit the person down that chooses the Goodreads color and introduce them to other colors other than orange, green, and purple. But besides the color of the challenge, my actual goal for the year is 60 books. It's a bit weird because every year that I've had Goodreads, I've upped my goal by a little bit, whether it's like by 1 book or 5, like it's always gone up every year. And this is the first year where I've gone less than previous goals. But I'm actually really happy and very excited about my reading goal this year because my theme and what I want to do this year with my reading is quality over quantity. I just want to read good books. That's all I want. And I think I'm going to do like a whole like new year reset vlog where I talk about my goals for the year and do some other things as well. So if you want to know more of my goals for the year, hopefully that should be coming soon. But yeah, I really want to be more intentional with what I'm reading this year, just because, like I said, last year, very mediocre reading year. So I want 2024 to be much better. And I think prioritizing books that I am really excited about and really enjoying, and, you know, allowing myself to DNF if I'm not enjoying something, and just like not feeling pressured to read something just for the sake of reading something and getting a number, you know, a certain number higher of books read in a month or in the year. Like, I just want to read books that I like. I just want to read good books. That's all I want. So yeah, 60 books is the goal for the year, and I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the new year, especially because, like I said, I did start my first book of the year, and we're already off to a great start. I was very, very stressed about picking my first read of the year this year, and I don't know why. I don't know why we all put so much pressure on our first read of the year. I never used to until I joined BookTube, and now I'm like, what's gonna be my first book of the year? It has to be good. And the past couple years, I've had a mix of things that I've read first, so I don't know. There was just a bit of pressure for no reason on my first book of the year this year, but I am really happy with what I decided to go with. It's a book that I've been excited to read for a while. I just had a good feeling about it, and so I decided to start my year off with this. But it's also a book that I didn't have too high of expectations, so if it didn't like live up to what I wanted it to be and I didn't absolutely love it, I wouldn't be too disappointed either. But the book that I'm starting 2024 with is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And like I said, we're off to a good start. I'm really liking this so far. So this is the first book in the Regency fairy tale series, which set in the Regency period and fairy tales. You already have me there, hooked, excited, I'm ready. But in this book, you're following Theodora, or Dora, and when she was a little younger, a fairy took half of her soul. So now, because she only has half of a soul, a lot of her like feelings and emotions feel very dulled down. So anytime she feels happy or embarrassed or scared, it's like she knows that she's supposed to feel that way, but she doesn't really. It's like she can kind of feel it deep within her that she's supposed to feel that way, but she doesn't. And so that puts her in a lot of sticky situations because there are a lot of times where she's very honest, and sometimes, you know, in this type of society, that's not what people want to hear. But we end up following Dora and her cousin Vanessa as they travel to London for the season, and Dora's just kind of hoping to like lay low and just kind of help Vanessa find a match, find a husband, just kind of help her do that and just kind of mind her own business. But then she ends up meeting the Lord Sorcier. I don't know how to say this word, I should look it up. But you meet Elias, who is this very grumpy magician, and he ends up learning of Dora's half of a soul and is kind of determined to help her in any way that he can, whether that's, you know, get her half of a soul back, just figure out a way to help her. But he's very grumpy, and the two of them kind of bicker a lot. Like, that's something I'm loving about this book is like the dialogue and the humor. It's so good. The banter and the bickering, it's just already so good. Plus, I just love a grumpy man. And his name's Elias. Like, come on now. So many things that will work for me. But this just feels like a book that was like written for me, and it is so to my taste with, you know, the historical setting in the Regency period. It is like these fairy tale-esque type of stories, which I love. There's a bit of magic, a bit of fantasy elements, but then there's also a romance and lovable characters. There's a great humor. The writing is great. Like, everything about it just working so well for me. It's just so many things that I love in one book. It's also like kind of has a cozy feeling to it. It feels just so, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I just have such a good feeling. I'm only like 60 pages in. Yeah, I'm on chapter 5, which is page 62. So not very far at all, but this also isn't a very long book. I think it's like less than 250 pages. I think a good amount of the end of this book is like a little short story. Yeah, like this whole chunk at the end is just a short story, and I think like a preview of the next book in the series. So it's not a very long book, but already just loving it so much. Like, I'm so excited to keep reading this, and I don't know, just like the idea that this is the start of a series, which like, should I be starting more series? Probably not. But this is the first book in a series. There's some short stories as well, and I'm already just like loving this one so much. It just makes me so excited to keep reading from this author. Plus, I think this author just came out with a new book like at the end of last year, and it's a very similar thing, but it's the Victorian fairy tale series, which I'm like, it's just so me. Like, I think she's writing these for me. So I just feel like I'm at the beginning of a very exciting and amazing journey with this author, and I'm just loving this book so much. But like I said, I'm trying to keep my expectations reasonable because I don't want to be disappointed if my feelings end up changing at any point while reading this. But so far, it's really great, and I'm so excited. I'm starting 2024 off with a book that I'm loving already. So yes, Half a Soul is definitely the main like reading plan for this vlog, but I may end up picking up some other things. We're just gonna see where the week takes us. So other than a lot of reading happening this week, there's also going to be a lot of journaling because I have a lot of journaling things to do. I need to finish setting up my bullet journal for the year. I'm almost done, so I think today I'm going to spend finishing that up and then hopefully working on getting that up as soon as possible. By the time this vlog goes up, my 2024 bullet journal setup should be up. But I also need to finish up my reading journal from 2023 so I can film a flip through of that. And then I also need to film my reading journal for 2024 setup. Lots of journaling happening over here. I feel like even though this year I was prepared, I had my journals for the new year for like over a month. Like, I've had them just sitting there, and somehow I'm still like, we are in the new year and these things still aren't done, but they will be soon. I'm very excited. I'm just so excited by the idea of a new journal as well. Again, that fresh start thing. And also I just love journaling, so having a new journal is very exciting. So yes, this week we're doing a lot of reading, a lot of journaling, and also I need to watch the Percy Jackson show. I think the first 3 episodes when I'm filming this right now are out, and I haven't seen a single one. So we need to do that this week as well. But yeah, other than those 2 things, I don't really know what else we're going to be getting up to. So we'll just see what ends up happening in the rest of this vlog. But hello, welcome to the first reading vlog of 2024. Happy New Year, and we'll just see where the rest of the week takes us. Guess what I have? Let me not show my address on camera. That would be unfortunate, but of course, with Barnes & Noble having their hardcover sale, I bought some books. I also bought books that weren't a part of the sale, and I do have another package coming. They shipped my order in 2 different packages. Why, I don't know, but it's okay. It's just going to be like more packages, so it's going to seem like more. And more is more, and more is fun. So I'm fine with that. But anyway, we're gonna open this package and see what's in here. I don't remember what book shipped in what package and which one has shipped. Anyway, we'll find out. I also had a book that I pre-ordered from Barnes & Noble that said it was delivered, and it is not here. And I don't think it's Barnes & Noble's fault. I think it's my post office's my post office's fault. There we go. But that's also unfortunate because I want it. So I'll have to figure that out. But in the meantime, we have these books. Onto the floor. Oh, it's like forgot what I ordered. Okay. Oh my god, it's so cute. I got Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson. It's not in this package, but I did order myself a hardcover of Sorcery of Thorns as well because I don't own that book and I feel like I need to own both of them. I don't know, pea brain, but I loved Sorcery of Thorns. So I'm really excited to read this because I'm pretty sure this is just like a silly, goofy novella and you follow the characters. I don't really know what they're doing. I don't remember, but it definitely like takes place after the events of Sorcery of Thorns. And my thing with that book is that I loved the characters so much. And I said like, I just wanted more from them and I would read like 100 novellas about them. So very excited to be back with them. And then I also got Bookshops and Bone Dust and Bone Dust. Why does that sound weird? Bookshops and no, why can't I speak? Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. It's the sequel to Legends and Lattes, but it's actually technically a prequel. There's deckled edges. That was an unexpected sensation. I was not prepared for that. Does the Barnes & Noble edition of Legends and Lattes have it? No, because I bought Legends and Lattes from Barnes & Noble. Interesting. I don't know why that's like that, but I'm not mad about it. It kind of adds to the vibe. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which I think it's like, oh yeah, there's art on the end pages, and I feel like there might be like a short story or something. I don't know. I feel like there was something else that was extra in the Barnes & Noble edition. Not sure, but very excited about this as well because I really liked Legends and Lattes, so excited to pick this up at some point. I'm just so excited. So Mysteries of Thorn Manor was part of the sale. This was not. The next thing I bought was also not part of the sale, but I had to get it. So this is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and I'm so excited. I feel like I honestly haven't heard the best things about this volume. Like people are still like giving it like 5 stars and obsessed, but I feel like it's a lot of people's least favorite. So I don't know, we'll see. I think that this starts to get into one of the novellas, either this winter or Nick and Charlie. I'm not really sure which one. I need to read Alice Oseman's books like in chronological order, like in order of events, because they're all set in the same universe. So I need to do that to actually understand what's happening. But regardless, I'm very excited for Volume 5. I absolutely love Heartstopper. So I'm just excited to get more from these characters. I did a reread of the 4 volumes that are out already over the summer. I think it was right before season 2 came out. So it's all fresh in my head and I'm very excited for more. And then the last thing that I got in this package, like I said, I have another package from Barnes & Noble coming, which I think was more things from the sale. But this last thing was in the sale as well. This is The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. This was a book that I had on one of my anticipated releases videos, and it just sounds really good. So you're following character Xylon. I will make sure to like double check on how to pronounce everything when I actually go to read this book and like talk about it and review it. But it says that she dreams of becoming a royal alchemist. They make the gold and the gems for the wealthy to eat in order to stay young forever. But I think she's practicing an illegal form of alchemy to keep food on the table, resurrecting the dead for a price. And I think she ends up going to compete against other alchemists to become the royal alchemist. And then it says the crown prince seeks out her help. I think he like knows that she's been resurrecting the dead. I don't know. It sounds really interesting. I don't think I described that well. I'm trying to quickly summarize and I can't speak right now. I don't know why I'm struggling so much, but it just sounds really, really good. And this cover is also so beautiful and it was half off. So who was I to say no? I feel like I went with very like safe options with some of the books I bought. Like they're all authors I've read from before, but this was one that I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm very excited about it. It seems really good. So I'm gonna make a little bit of a risky choice and buy a book from someone I've never read from before. But this author's other books, yeah, The Keeper of Night, I feel like a lot of people really like that book as well. So, or that series. So either way, excited about it. And let's get that box out of the way. Here is half of my haul. There's another half to be coming. And then that book that I pre-ordered that has yet to arrive. but it says it's been delivered, but I don't have it. So what went wrong? I don't know. Well, hey, what's up? I wanted to film a little bit of an update because it's been a minute since I've chatted to you all. First of all, aren't those so cute? I'm so happy that I finally put those up. I've had those lights for at least 2 years now. I'm also going to chat to you while I do my makeup, so we all know that this does not normally go well for me, so we're gonna see how this goes. Oh, I need my headband. Okay, I guess I'll get up. I got one of these like skincare makeup headband things that everyone has, and I don't really know why specifically like this style of headband is what is popular and like why people use it to keep their hair back, but now I've joined them, so it works. I mean, I do like it, and it is very comfortable on my head because it's kind of like a cloth, bouncy, I don't know what words I'm trying to use. This is gonna be a mess, I can already tell. Anyway, I like it. So I guess I understand why everyone's using it, but I'm not really sure where they came from. Anyway, these lights, that's what we were talking about. I had these lights for a while. I wanted to put them up over my bed like that, and I just didn't like that they like, I can maybe show, or maybe in the clips where I set them up you could kind of see, they didn't fully go to the ends of my headboard. Like they don't line up with the end of my headboard and with the edge of my bed. And when I first got them, I didn't really like that. I wanted them to like line up with the ends of my bed. So I got another set, but then they were too long. They went like over my door frame over here, and then they went way too far over here. I'm not explaining this well. Either way, it didn't look good to me. So I just didn't know what to do, and I never put them back up. But then last night while I was reading, I was like, I just had this thought of like, I need fairy lights and I need them right now. I don't know why. I don't know what sparked this. I think the fact that we're going to be taking like Christmas decorations and stuff down soon, and I know that all of those cozy lights are going to be gone soon. I think that's why, maybe. I don't know, but it was just a very like abrupt thought where I was like, I need fairy lights and I need them up right this minute. So I found those and set them up, and I think it looks okay. I don't think it looks that weird that they don't reach the end of my headboard. I think the fact that I also have those books on the headboard and there's just kind of a lot going on kind of hides the fact that it doesn't quite reach, but I also don't think it looks that bad. Like I think it looks fine. If you think it looks bad, don't tell me. But yeah, that was like a random thing that I got the urge to do last night. So I did that, immediately put my book down, found the lights, put them up. But it just added to the whole cozy reading vibes, and I'm gonna keep them up all year. I'm not gonna have to take them down. I mean, arguably I'd keep my Christmas tree up all year round if I could, but I won't. But yeah, now I'm not gonna have a sadness of missing the Christmas lights too much because I'm gonna have those up. But like I said, I wanted the lights while I was reading, so I did do some reading last night. I've done a bit of reading over the past couple of days. I am now, without getting makeup all over my book, on chapter 14, which is page 174 of Half a Soul. I'm gonna put it down so I don't get makeup all over it. But I am still really loving this book, even though it ended up taking a turn with the plot that I wasn't anticipating. I kind of expected this book to be mostly following Elias and Dora as they try to figure out what's going on with her soul and like trying to get it back or something. I kind of thought that that was going to be the main plot, but it's not. It's more so about the fact that Elias has been trying to find a cure for this very like mysterious but magical in nature plague that's happening. And I don't want to say too much because this isn't even in the description of the book, so I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, especially because this book is so short. But yeah, it's really just Elias and Dora trying to figure out like a cure for this magical illness that's happening. So Elias helping Dora figure out what is going on with her soul and like finding a solution to that gets kind of put on the back burner, but you are still seeing Elias and Dora like have a lot of interactions with one another as they're trying to figure out what's happening with this plague. And I just still am loving it, even with the change in direction of where I thought this book was going to go. I'm still loving it so much. This is like an exact instance of because I love the characters, the plot really could do anything at this point and I'd be like, I don't care. As long as Elias and Dora are here, nothing matters. And I think that's why the plot kind of going in a way I wasn't expecting isn't bothering me, like, and I'm still enjoying it because I just love the characters so much. The dynamic between Dora and Elias is so fun to read and has been so fun to see like their arc and them like starting to maybe have feelings for one another, because they start off kind of giving each other a hard time and being very sarcastic and snarky with one another, but they're strangers, so that's like just kind of how they treat each other. But then as they get to know one another and those feelings start to turn more friendly and maybe even more than just friendly, like they still are very sarcastic and snarky with one another, but it's more in like a loving way, and it's just really fun to read. He is so grumpy. Elias is simply everything. Like the chapter that I read last night, there was a ball that they had attended. Dora was there and Elias shows up and the two of them start dancing with one another, and just like the things Elias said to her and the things that he did, it was so precious and magical and just made me want to cry because I love them so much. And that is why that is the last chapter I read, because I know with the book, you know, coming to a close soon, that I'm sure like the end of the book is going to get a lot more stressful and some conflicts are going to start happening. And I was like, I don't want to read that yet. I just want to live in this nice little bubble where the last thing I read was very happy and very cute and be in denial of things potentially going south. But yeah, I just love them. I love every scene that they have together, whether it's more emotional or whether it's like their feelings for each other are starting to surface, or they're just like genuinely talking about like this plague that's happening and they're doing research or whatever it is. Like every time they are in a scene with one another, I just love it. And I also really like a lot of the side characters. Albert, love him so much. But I also feel like all of the side characters feel really fleshed out. I wasn't sure because this book is not super long. One was thinking the other characters, like side characters, weren't going to be super memorable or fleshed out or all feel the same, especially because at the beginning of this book, you're given a like character list. So I was like, oh no, like every time I see a character list at the beginning of the book, I'm like, so you mean I'm going to get confused over who characters are? That's why this is here. But I don't find it confusing keeping track of who is who. They all feel very distinct and very memorable in their own way. Whether I like them or not, I feel like each character really stands on their own. But the other thing that I was kind of concerned about is that this is, you know, following these characters and their kind of relationship and a little bit of a romance, and this book is so short that I was wondering like how the romance was going to be paced and if it was going to seem like everything happened very quickly, whether they like had like an insta love situation or it went from them yearning and pining to a very quick switch. And I feel like the romance has been paced really well. Like I don't think that the page count has had any influence over the pacing of the story. Everything is paced really well. I don't know, I'm thoroughly enjoying this and I'm just so excited to see how it ends, but I'm also like, I never want this book to end. I definitely could have read this book so much faster than I have. It is the 4th, I think, of January, or the 5th. It's the 5th. It's the 5th of January. My apologies. This book should not have taken me 5 days because of the length of it, but because I'm loving it so much, I'm just like taking my time and enjoying the reading process. And like I've been saying, I want to focus on quality over quantity this year. So the fact that this book is taking me so long does not matter, just because I am enjoying it and I want to take as much time with it as I want. Like I don't want to rush through it just because it's a fast read and so that I can get on to the next thing. I'm just really enjoying being with these characters and in this world and in this story. So I'm going to take as long as I want with it and just enjoy the whole reading experience. But with that being said, I think I only have like 60 20-ish pages left of this book, so I probably will finish it today, especially because, like I was saying, I think the chapter that I just read, it was too happy, everything was too good, so therefore things are going to take a turn and the things are probably going to start becoming stressful, and I feel like once we reach that point, I'm just going to need to finish the book and see how it all ends. So it's definitely in the plans for the evening to finish Half a Soul, but I also am going out to dinner tonight with my parents and my Nana, so that'll be nice, and I'm also like getting ready for that, but also I think I'm going to film the intro and outro of my reading journal flip through from 2023. I just filmed the actual flip through, but I think I'm going to film the intro and outro and maybe film some other things. Like I said, I want to do a reset vlog for like 2024, like a new year reset kind of thing. So I might film either the intro to that or some things for that. I don't know. We're just going to wait and see. But yeah, I'm just putting makeup on to film whatever it is that I end up filming. And then I'll just have a face on when we go out to eat. I love how I say have a face on, like my face gets taken off. Like that's not how it works. Anyway, so yeah, still loving Half a Soul so much. It's so funny because I don't normally go on Goodreads and look at reviews of books before I'm done with them because I don't want reviews to influence my thoughts and opinions on books. But I did go on Goodreads to look at reviews for this book like a clown. And I'm surprised that there's so many like 3.5 star ratings for this book because I thought that so many people loved this book. I thought this was a book that I heard about so often because people gave it 5 stars, but like there are so many 3-star ratings and I'm like, first of all, are y'all just not getting it? Are y'all not seeing the vision? Like I'm just loving it so much. But I'm also just surprised. I just thought that this book had more 5-star ratings, but I'm loving it. So that's really all that matters, right? So yeah, finishing up Half a Soul and doing some filming and probably some editing later today. I did finally finish, obviously I filmed the flip through of my 2023 reading journal, so I did finish setting all of those spreads up, all of the final spreads. My 2024 bullet journal is now done. That video is going up today. So now journaling wise, I just need to set up my reading journal for 2024. Been doing a lot of journaling the past few days, but honestly, like I've been in a journaling mood, so that's lucky because sometimes I'm not. When it comes time for a new year and I'm not in a journaling mood, it's not good. So yeah, I'm gonna finish getting ready, film all the things I want to film, and then hopefully the next time we check in, I will have finished Half a Soul and I will have my final rating and review. And I'm thinking at this point, it's gonna be 5 stars, but we'll see. Well, hey, what's up everybody? Long time, no chat. I don't know the last time I updated you all. We had a snowstorm since the last time I chatted with you all, a good amount of snow. And unfortunately, this is the snow I wanted like 2 weeks ago when it was Christmas time, and we didn't have any snow on Christmas, which just feels wrong. It actually, like, it happens more often than I realize, but like, I just feel like there needs to be snow on Christmas. That's just the rules. So I'm a little upset we got like our first big snowstorm after Christmas, but you know, here she is, and it is pretty. My excitement over the snow though will be gone shortly. By like mid-January, if it snows again, I'll be over it. But other than snow, we do have some things to chat about. Lots of reading updates because I did finish Half a Soul the other day. I do have a bookmark still in there because I need to read the little short story that's at the end of the book still, but I did finish like the main story and the main book, and I loved this so much. I gave it 5 stars. So my first read of this year was a 5-star. Can we get a round of applause? I feel like I haven't had a 5-star. It feels like it's been a long time. I did have one in December, but before that, it had been since like August. So it had been a while. It just like, it's just so nice to read a book and just love it, you know, like, what a feeling. But yeah, like I've been saying this whole time, like this just has so many elements that I love. And I also really loved the characters and the relationship and the romance. And I am such a character-driven reader that the fact that I was so invested in the characters, really loved them, really loved the romance, it just really worked for me. Like all of these elements, it's basically like a historical romance with a sprinkle of fantasy and funny characters and a really great romance. Like it's just, it was so good. And I think I was saying this in the last time I talked to you all, that I was surprised at where like the direction of the plot was going. Like I thought it was going to go one way and it kind of started going a different way, but I do feel like the way things wrapped up and the way things came together, it all made sense. Like I just feel like this was a very well
plotted book. Like everything made sense. The world made sense, even though there wasn't like, it wasn't the most intense magic system. It wasn't an intense fantasy book, but like all of that, like all of those elements made sense. Like it was so good. And something that I actually saw on Goodreads when I finished the book was that Olivia Atwater said that Dora's kind of half of a soul, and the fact that she doesn't always pick up on social cues, and there's just certain things that she does and says that people don't deem normal. It's supposed to be a metaphor for neurodivergence, which I definitely was picking up on while I was reading the book, but I didn't want to comment on it because I didn't know, I just wasn't sure how that was going to wrap up. You know, I didn't know how Dora's story with her half of a soul, you know, how that storyline was going to continue and how it was going to wrap up, and if I was going to feel weird or like have a bad taste in my mouth having that comparison depending on how her story wrapped up. But I feel like it being a metaphor and how her story wrapped up, how everything with her half of a soul problem kind of wrapped up, I think made a lot of sense. It was really well done, and I feel like it just, I don't know, it was just kind of cool to see that sort of representation in that way, and I just really loved it. Elias is the only man ever. I don't know what it is with fictional characters with the name Elias. I can think of one other, an Ember in the Ashes, and he is also the only man ever, so love them both so much. But I also really loved Dora, and I loved the side characters. I loved Albert so much. I also really loved the epilogue. The last like sentence of this book had me like in tears. Like, I don't know, this was just a book that I feel like I really connected to. It was one that I just feel like had so many elements that I love to read about, so it just really worked for me in like every aspect. And I have heard that the rest of the series a lot of people don't love as much as they love the first one, so I already have that expectation. I'm already aware of that, so I'm, you know, not gonna have unreasonable expectations going into the sequels, but I still am excited to continue on with the series. I need to reread this little short story that's at the end of the book still. I kind of forgot until I picked it up to update you all that I haven't read that yet. Normally I read like little short stories like that at the end of books, like right after I finish them, but I think it's because it was late when I finished this. I was like, I'll just read it the next day because I'm gonna go to sleep, and then she hasn't read it, so gonna work on that, but I'm probably gonna enjoy it, and I'll update you on my thoughts on that. So after finishing Half a Soul, I was still kind of in a fantasy romance sort of mood, but I definitely was leaning more towards like wanting a more fantasy novel that just happens to have a romance. So I went back and forth for a little bit trying to decide what I wanted to pick up. I actually did read a chapter of a book, and I can never remember the name of it. Oh, and I'm filming on my phone, so I can't check it. Hold on, where's my Kindle? Okay, it is called Thrown in the Dark. It is the first book in the Villains and Virtue series. Who is this by? Okay, it's by A.K. Caggiano. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but I saw Katie from Katie's Reading talking about this series, and it basically just seemed like a very like lighthearted, silly, goofy fantasy romance series. And I read the first chapter, definitely got that vibe. It felt like it wasn't like taking itself too seriously. It was very self-aware. It just seemed very like lighthearted, silly, goofy vibes, which could be a vibe. That could be something that I get in the mood for. I've also heard that it's like Grumpy Sunshine, which is like one of my favorite tropes. So, and I think like the villain guy, he's like not very good at being a villain, so it just seems like it is gonna be fun, but it just wasn't what I was in the mood for. I want a fantasy with a romance, but I wanted it to be mostly a fantasy. The best way I could describe what I was in the mood for is based off of like what I feel like I want to reread right now, which is An Ember in the Ashes and A Court of Thorns and Roses, which are very different vibes. I think I wanted like the fantasy, angsty, stressful aspects of An Ember in the Ashes and a bit of the romance with the romance kind of elements of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So with that being said, this is what I came to read, which at this point, I think I've shown you all in the vlog what I picked up. I picked up the Jasad Heir, I believe is how it's pronounced. If I'm not pronouncing it correctly, that's on me. I did look up the author in interviews and was trying to understand how it was being said. So if I'm still pronouncing that wrong, I will work on it. But yes, this is by Sarah Hashim. And this technically, I think it gets categorized as a romantasy or a fantasy romance. It was in the Goodreads Choice Awards under the romantasy category, but this is definitely like so far the vibe that I wanted, because it definitely has a very interesting fantasy world and things are being set up in that way that are very interesting. But I think there's like a good like enemies to lovers story. I think I've heard it's very slow burn, so I'm excited. I also got this book in the mail like earlier this week. It was a gift from Andrea as a Christmas gift, so thank you, Andrea, so much for giving this to me. I meant to haul it in this vlog. I just like completely forgot that I was vlogging. When it's been a while since I vlogged, I like forget that I have to vlog. But yeah, I got this from Andrea for a Christmas present. And what's funny is I heard her talking about it, and that's why I added it to my wish list. And then she got it for me. So Andrea's power. But yeah, I'm not that far. I'm on chapter 5, which is page 67. But so far, like I said, this is just like what I was in the mood for. This is exactly what I was looking for. So in this book, you're following Sylvia, who is the heir of the Jasad kingdom, which 10 years prior to when we were seeing this book burned down. The Nazal, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that kingdom were the ones that kind of caused the Jasad kingdom to fall. And the armies of Nazal are always on the hunt for the Jasadi people who still remain, because the Jasadi people are the only ones that still have magic. And so if you reveal your magic, it's not good. You get taken to a fair and just trial, but oftentimes the people, even just on the journey to the Nazal kingdom, do not survive, or they get there and they don't actually face a very just and fair trial. So Sylvia is the heir of the Jasad throne, but everyone assumed that she died in the massacre that happened 10 years ago. So she has escaped this village and has been hiding out. She changed her name. She basically has taken up this new identity to protect herself. But then the heir of the Nazal kingdom, Aaron, comes to her village and he ends up witnessing her magic. And so they end up creating this deal. He will not like bring her to trial and kill her, essentially, if she will work for him in finding rebels, aka her own people. Because something that is now getting introduced at where I'm at in the book is that there's this competition that happens between the kingdoms. There is one person that is chosen from every single kingdom to represent them, and they enter this like deadly game and competition. And the Nazal people, because they're trained to be like soldiers and be a part of these armies from a very young age, would have an unfair advantage. So the heir of the Nazal kingdom, aka Aaron, he chooses a champion to represent that kingdom. And so I believe he ends up choosing Sylvia to represent his kingdom, and she ends up getting sucked into this very dangerous and deadly competition. I don't know if I explained any of that very well, but basically we got two heirs, one secret to a kingdom that burned. There's magic. She could die because of this, and he's like hunting her people, and now there's like this deadly competition that she ends up getting involved in. And I love a competition in a book, so I'm excited about that element. That's something that isn't actually on the description of the book, but is already being introduced this early on, and people have mentioned it in their like spoiler-free reviews. So I feel like it's something to note and something important for me to share, because if you love competition, there you go. And so far I'm really enjoying it. I do feel like this is going to be like a true enemies to lovers story, because obviously their people hate one another, and that is what I want in an enemies to lovers. When people describe like contemporary romances as enemies to lovers, it does not hit the same. I want knives to the throat. That's what I want. But yeah, it's just a very interesting premise so far. The characters are really interesting. I'm definitely still getting introduced to all of like the magic system and the world and all the kingdoms and the history and the lore and everything. So I'm still like trying to understand everything. So I think that's also why me giving a description of this book was a little bit of a mess. But I'm really liking it so far. And like I said, this is the exact thing I was in the mood for. So I'm excited to keep going. It's also a little warped. It came like this from Amazon. I like stacked some books on top of it to help it, but it didn't really help. And also, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a bunch of like little nicks in the pages on the bottom. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it. What is Amazon doing? I feel like I just need to create like a different wish list, or like another wish list that's not through Amazon, because I know a lot of people don't want to support Amazon, and I totally understand that. I try not to buy from them as much as I possibly can. And like, what is this? Anyway, it's no big deal, because I think I'll be able to flatten it out some more if I put some heavier things on top of it. But anyway, the book itself, the content inside, I'm really enjoying, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I love a slow burn, enemies to lovers competition book. Like, this is just, again, everything I could want. I'm really picking up books that just are really up my alley, which that's what we're going to do this year. I'm not going to force myself to read things I don't want to read. What a concept. I'm also realizing that with Half a Soul and this, I'm starting more series, which is something else I want to be doing this year, is finishing some series, because I've started so many. But that's okay. I'm not mad about it, because I also think I'm going to be like DNFing a lot of series that I've started, because again, going back to that reading books I want to read, there's a lot of series I started. I don't care about finishing the series. So I think it'll be okay that I'm starting even more series, because I'm going to cancel it out with the ones I'm DNFing. I just have a problem with like not completing things. Like, that's why I'm so bad at DNFing books and series, because I just have this like completionist part of my brain. Is that even a word? Completionist? Like perfectionist, which I'm also that. But yeah, definitely gonna be DNFing some series. So I'm not even mad that I've started some more series. And this is like the first book that's in the series. I'll be able to read the second one when it comes out. This is actually a debut, so that's very exciting. I know this author was in law school when she was writing this book, so like, what a girl boss. And Half a Soul, I think, has like come to an end. And like I was saying, I think Olivia Atwater has started a new series that's like Victorian era fairy tales. So very excited about that. But yeah, I'll be able to like actually finish Half a Soul, that series, hopefully, and then, you know, read the sequel to this when it comes out. So it's not too bad, she says, but who knows. So I don't know if I'll end up finishing this before the end of the vlog. We'll see how far I get, or maybe I'll just post this vlog later than I want to finish this. We'll just see how the week goes. But I did finish Half a Soul, which is the first book of the year, which is really what I wanted to document with this vlog. So happy about that. Happy I gave it 5 stars, and I'm hoping that that just sets the tone for my reading year in 2024. I just closed that so you people didn't have to look at a bathroom behind me. Of course, Sam immediately opens the door. Okay, hello, welcome back. Can you close it? Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? Please ignore that there's still Christmas decorations happening behind me. It is January 11th. However, I'm still sad that Christmas is over. I do think I am probably gonna take most of my Christmas decorations down either today or tomorrow. I think my tree's gonna stay up for a little bit longer just because I also like the box that it came in. I think it's impossible to get fake trees back in the box that they come in. So we get like the tree bags to store our fake trees, and I need to order one because it's a new tree. So anyways, once I get that tree bag, that will come down. But I think I'm gonna take down the rest of my decorations today or tomorrow, even though I really don't want to. But yeah, I'm aware that it's time for them to come down. I'm sad about it, but hey, what's up? I wanted to give some reading updates, as well as unbox some more books, because the rest of my Barnes & Noble order has arrived. Other than the pre-order, I'm convinced it was given to the wrong person. It was put in the wrong mailbox and someone got it and just has not bothered to give it to the proper address, and or have just decided to keep it for themselves. So you're welcome, but it is the second book in a series, so I hope it spoils you. Just kidding. I just wish that I had my book. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Gonna have to message Barnes & Noble and be like, hey, I never got my package. Can I have another one? Or like a refund, and then I'll just go and get the book again. I don't care. I just want it. But I do have more books that I've ordered that have arrived. So we'll unbox those, but I did want to give some reading updates as well. So I did end up reading the little like short story at the end of Half a Soul last night. It was like maybe 30 pages. It was a very quick thing to just fly through. It's basically like a prequel sort of to Half a Soul, and we're seeing what happened to Elias and Albert that caused them to become friends. Because I don't know if I ever explained, I know I said that I liked Albert as character. I don't know if I ever explained in this vlog like what character he was, like who he was. And basically he is Elias the magician, his only friend, because Elias is so grumpy and a lot of people don't like him because of his just like grumpiness, and just like he won't put up with people if they're being ridiculous, and he just doesn't care about like the proper etiquette of things. He'd rather just like do what he has to do. And Albert is kind of the only person that likes Elias, and Elias like Albert is the only person that he like trusts and cares for, really, at least at the beginning of this book. So that short story was just following them as they become friends because of the war. Obviously, it was like hard to read at certain points because there were some like brutal injuries and things that were happening, but there were also some really cute moments with them like becoming friends. So it was a fun read, very quick to read, obviously, and I'm just really excited to continue on with this series. So yeah, I read the last bit of that and then switched over to the Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashim. I'm now on chapter 14, which is page 181. So I think I'm like a little over a third of the way through the book. So we're getting there. I will say, like, I'm still liking this book. I think the premise is really interesting. The characters are fun. It really is an enemies to lovers, hate to love story. Like, they're threatening to kill each other every other page. So it truly is an enemies to lovers situation. But I am like almost 200 pages into this book now, and I do still find that I'm getting a little confused on world building things. I will like cut this author some slack because this is a debut. So I do think for a debut, it's doing a lot of things really well. I do appreciate that the info we are getting in regards to the world building and everything, it hasn't been super info dumpy. I feel like we've been getting a lot of information mixed in with the plot progressing. Like, things have been happening pretty much since the start of this book. Like, chapter 1, things are going on. So it hasn't been slow for the info dumps. Like, there's really not been a lot of info dumping at all, which I do appreciate. Things have been going on. We've just been getting information mixed in with all of that. However, I just feel like I don't fully understand this world. I feel like I understand it enough to be able to like continue to read it and just be like, yeah, like I know what's going on. I'm able to follow along or like use context clues to figure things out, but it definitely has been a bit confusing. I feel like there's just been a lot of things like just like said, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, who this is, what the significance is, why is this important? And we're just like, it feels like it's just said as if we're supposed to know that already, but like we don't know. We don't know because things weren't explained. But I don't know. We've also like, there have been some things that have been explained afterwards. So I just feel like kind of the plotting of when we're getting information, like the delivery of certain pieces of information could have been done in a way where it was less confusing. So I do feel like the world building I'm a little confused by. Like, this competition that Sylvia is getting involved in, like, I'm still not fully sure I know why this is happening. I believe this competition, like the whole purpose of it is to honor the, I don't know if they're gods or like viewed as gods or just like the people basically that founded these kingdoms. It's like a way of honoring their sacrifice, because we learned that like they had to sacrifice themselves in order to save their kingdoms and make like the kingdoms continue to thrive and the people within their kingdoms to be safe. So I feel like it's the competition's a way of honoring that, but I'm not really sure why this competition is happening. Like, I feel like there's just a lot of those questions. I'm like, but why? I understand, I think, the what of the world building. It's more so the why that I'm getting confused on. But yeah, I do feel like I'm able to understand it enough to just be able to keep going, and I'm still liking it. I definitely am not liking it as much as I was at the beginning. And also, I know I was saying with Half a Soul, like, I normally don't look at Goodreads reviews when I'm reading a book, but I ended up looking at Goodreads reviews for Half a Soul. I did it again with this book. I don't know what's my problem. And there's definitely a lot of mixed reviews on this book. I didn't look at anything too in-depth. Like, once I realized I was looking at reviews, I was like, what am I doing? But I did see someone say that the like actual competition doesn't happen until much later on in the book. And where I'm at right now, like, Sylvia has just begun like kind of training for this competition. So if that's what the majority of the book's gonna be, I'm glad I know that. Like, I'm not expecting the competition to start soon. I'm glad that I kind of had that expectation already. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still liking it. I like the dynamic between Sylvia and Aaron, and I think that the world is interesting. I just feel like the actual world building and like the delivery of the information has been a bit confusing to follow, but I know this is the start of a series as well, so I feel like a lot of things could be done in a way that it gets a little bit more clearer, and like the sequel could be a lot stronger in that aspect. Again, like I said, this is a debut, so you know, there's going to be a lot of things that maybe don't work because this is the author's first book, but we'll just see. I'm still liking it. Definitely not loving it as much as I was when I first started, but I'm still liking it a lot. I also think I'm going to wrap up this vlog before I finish this book. I actually think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to unbox those books first. Don't worry about that. But I do think I'm going to end this vlog here, which I know is kind of annoying that I've started a book and I'm not finishing the vlog. But like I've been saying, one of my goals for this year is to just take my time with reading and enjoy the whole reading experience of every book, and just not like feel like I need to force myself to rush through something just so that I can include it in a vlog and be able to talk about it. Or I don't know, I just don't want to feel like I have to be reading at all times. If I don't feel like reading later on tonight, then I won't, you know? Not gonna feel pressured to have to pick this up. So yeah, I mean, I'm still enjoying it, so I'm sure I'm going to read later on tonight. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the vlog before I finish the book, which I'm so sorry about that, but I will be sharing my thoughts on this book at some point in future videos. I don't think I'm doing wrap-ups this year. I've decided I don't like filming wrap-ups. I do this all the time. If you look back on like my channel from the very start till now, you will see that wrap-ups have come and gone so many times. I just genuinely do not enjoy sitting down and filming wrap-ups. I love having wrap-ups on my channel as like a resource for myself, because like when I was filming my best and worst books of the year videos, like it was nice to be able to go back and rewatch my wrap-ups from when I read those books to see like what the books were about and my thoughts, and like refresh my mind on everything. So it's a nice resource. However, I just don't enjoy sitting down and filming them. And I'm like, why would I spend my time filming a video that I don't want to film? Like, why would I do that when I could be spending that time filming a video I'm excited about and do enjoy? So I don't know. I think wrap-ups may be going away again. Who knows? Maybe they'll come back at some point. That tends to be what happens here. But I do think I'll probably post like wrap-up posts on Instagram again, which is what I was doing when I wasn't posting wrap-ups to YouTube before. I post things on Instagram. I'm sure there will be some way of you to catch what my thoughts on books are that aren't the video wrap-ups. I also have Goodreads and Storygraph, so those are always linked below. Anyway, long ramble aside, you probably just want to see the book unboxing at this point. Okay, so first of all, I have a box, but I also did get my copy of Sorcery of Thorns. This came in its own package. This Barnes & Noble order came in 3 separate packages. And for what? I mean, I'm sure they just came from all different warehouses. That's why it had to happen. But yeah, my Sorcery of Thorns, this copy came in its own separate box, but that arrived a few days ago, and I thought it might have been the book that I pre-ordered, so I got really excited because it was kind of wrapped in that same way, and it wasn't. But it's Sorcery of Thorns, so very excited about this. This was one of my favorite books of last year, so very excited to have this part of my collection. Definitely will reread it at some point, but now I can get into the actual unboxing of some more books. I don't really remember how many we have left in this order. I think I ordered like 7 or 8 things, so we'll just see. Oh, maybe I only have 2 things left. Is that the right math? Okay, well, first thing is I got the Last Violent Call little book set. These are 2 novellas set in These Violent Delights / Foul Lady Fortune world, because all of those books, like, they're all connected, they're all part of the same world, you see similar characters, and I believe you are supposed to read these after you read Foul Lady Fortune, which you might be thinking, Lisa, you haven't read that book, why are you getting this? Well, Foul Lady Fortune was actually a part of the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale, and it's still, that sale's still happening. I think it's happening until the end of January, but I wanted to buy it because it was half off. No copy of any of their hardcover copies, because they have the normal edition, they have a signed edition, and then they have the Barnes & Noble exclusive, and none of those were in stock. They're all out of stock online. They're also all out of stock like in stores around me, so I couldn't get a copy of that in the sale, but I figured I might as well get these while they're on sale, especially because something about buying 2 tiny books full price really bothered me. So I'm happy I was able to get them half off. So now I will just have these once I'm able to eventually get my hands on a copy of Foul Lady Fortune. I mean, I'm sure I could get them from somewhere else that isn't Barnes & Noble, but I kind of like the Barnes & Noble edition with like the sprayed edges, and I think it's like a gold cover instead of pink, but I also love the pink cover because I love pink. So I don't know, we'll see. Hello, Sam. He just scared me. But yeah, I got these. So these will be ready once I end up reading Foul Lady Fortune, which I do have plans to do. I definitely want to continue reading the books set in this world. And then I have one more book that I got in this sale. This was also on sale, and I was very excited to see it there. It's Magic Has No Borders. This is a short story collection. It's a collection of magical South Asian tales, and there's a bunch of authors in here, but I was very specifically excited because Sabaa Tahir has a story in here, and she's like one of my favorite authors. Love her so much. And also Sangu Mandana also has a short story in here, which she is the author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I absolutely love, one of my favorite books ever. So I'm really excited for this. There's also a lot of authors that I've never read from before, so I think it'll be a cool way to get introduced to a bunch of different authors, and I'm just really excited. Also, this cover, I just think it's so cool. So yeah, I'm just really excited to read this, check out all these authors I've never read from before, but also like I'm so excited to read something else from Sabatir. Anything she writes, I will read. Like I've said before, she could publish her grocery list and I would read it, love it, give it 5 stars. It would be the best grocery list I've ever read. Oh, and it looks like her story is the last story in the collection, so that's exciting. Yeah, I'm just excited to check out all these authors and check this out. I'm very happy about this. So yes, the rest of my remaining Barnes & Noble haul, I'm concerned that this sale is going until the end of January, because what happens if I place yet another order? I don't know. I really shouldn't, because I'm trying to cut down on my physical TBR this year by either unhauling things I'm no longer interested in or actually reading the books I own. What an idea. So I shouldn't buy more books, but it's gonna be hard to resist. Half off hardcovers, that's such a good deal. But yes, these were the remaining things I was waiting for in my haul, so very happy that those came in time before I ended this vlog. But yeah, like I was saying, I do think I am gonna wrap up this vlog here, just because I know that the book I'm currently reading, it's gonna take me, I think, a little bit longer to finish, and this vlog already I think is gonna be pretty long, and I really just wanted to document like my first read of 2024, which we did with Half a Soul, gave it 5 stars, loved it. So I feel like this was a success, but I would love to know in the comments what you picked up for your first book of the year. I just find it so interesting to see what people decide to read first. I feel like I was saying at the beginning of this vlog, I never used to think about it until I was on BookTube, and now for some reason, there's that stress. I think also because I'm vlogging, so I'm like, I want my first book and my first vlog of the year to be a success. I don't know, but this year it was, because my first book of the year was 5 stars, and I would love to know what you ended up reading for the first book of 2024. But yeah, other than that, I think that is going to be it for my first reading vlog of 2024. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.